The Top Employer Certification is essentially a certification of the people practices that companies offer for their people development. It starts with a pre-screen in which the maturity of the HR policies is tested, and then there's an extensive HR best practice survey which is validated both on quantitative as well as on qualitative measures. Then there's an external audit, there's certification, and a celebration with a certification dinner and a feedback session. Before a company enters the program is what we call the pre-screen, and in that pre-screen we look at whether a company actually meets the criteria to enter the program. They need to employ at least 250 people in a local market or be part of a larger company, multinationally active with 2,500 people or more. And then in the pre-screen we look at certain questions that test their maturity of HR and test their dedication towards people practices. And then a company can enroll and be part of the 3-year certification program. The actual certification process starts with an HR best practice survey, which touches 10 main HR topics that influence people development. So it starts with talent strategy, talent acquisition, onboarding. In the whole survey, we measure over 600 best practices. We look at the technology supporting those practices. We look at how companies evaluate and measure the effect of their policies and how they actually adjust course after that. So all that is being done in that survey phase. And then that's followed by a validation phase in which in different ways we look at the correctness of the answers. Are companies actually providing the conditions that are up to the level that we require them to be? There's an external audit that takes place where our systems are being checked, and that's the final step before the actual certification. And when a company is certified, they're going to be notified usually at the end of the calendar year, and then they're able to carry the certification for the next year. And that's something that they're very happy about usually, and that we celebrate with a big certification dinner, and that is followed by a feedback session in which we show them how they have done in comparison to other companies. So that's where the benchmark and alignment part are being met. The actual creation of our survey is something that we pride ourselves on. It's hard work, and it's something that is ongoing. We have had various iterations over the past years, and that's because the HR domain is constantly evolving. If you look at when we originally designed this version of the survey, the previous version, this was in 2013, and the world has changed. What it comes down to is we look outside, we listen to experts, we listen to our participants, we're in constant conversation with them through the validation and the feedback sessions, and based on that we adjust our survey on an annual basis. The Top Employer Certification is celebrated in many ways, and it should be, because it's a valuable recognition of all the efforts that have gone into creating optimal conditions for their people. So we see that happening in our certification dinners, which take place around the world, and which provide an opportunity for HR leadership and general leadership to come together to celebrate their certification. But we also see that happening within companies themselves. So we see that they organize a Top Employers Day, they organize all kinds of festivities around the certification to acknowledge the great work that has gone into it and to acknowledge the conditions that are in place for people. So many celebrations, and rightfully so. So our promise to top employers is that we give them the opportunity to enhance their employer brand. We give them, upon certification, the tools to show that they're a good employer, actually a very good employer, and that they can show that internally and externally. So that's one. The second one is that we give them opportunities to benchmark themselves against other top performers. We give them the opportunity to internally benchmark. And finally, we give them the opportunity to connect with a community of like-minded top employers. So in the process that we're in right now, we're assessing 1,600 companies, and that's a community of companies and HR professionals that are eager to share best practices. And we provide the opportunities to our participants to connect with each other and to learn from each other. So it's brand, benchmark, align, connect. Those are the things that we focus on and that we promise to deliver.